Welcome back, everyone, to Light Talk, where everyone can be themselves and tell their own unique paranormal and supernatural experiences with a safe and supportive community. If you have a story you would like to share, please email me at lighttalk423@gmail.com. And while you're at it, click on the like, share, and subscribe buttons. Today is going to be so much fun. I have a guest on that has several and many experiences he has experienced, and we're going to find out what those are all about today. So, why don't you go ahead and take over and welcome to the show?
Hi, Dana. My name is Glenn Diamond, and I have been an engineer for my whole career. I recently retired. I have a degree in electrical engineering from UC Santa Barbara. So I've always been scientific. I've been a space nerd. I've been a private pilot. I've done all kinds of geeky things. And science can bring, if you're open, science can bring you into a lot more areas of interest, metaphysical areas. For the last 7 years, I've been working in aerospace as a quality engineer, and mostly working on what's the next big space telescope, which is called the Roman Space Telescope. And it's the follow-on to the James Webb. And I only mention that because this is being touted as potentially solving some of the biggest mysteries of the universe. And, right on. That's what we need. We need to know as much as we can about where we live and who we are. So I guess the twist for me happened probably when I started listening to Coast to Coast AM with Art Bell and George Norrie. Got me thinking about a lot of different things. And eventually I started becoming interested in metaphysics, which is maybe where you and I kind of cross over a little bit, in that if you're really open, there's a lot bigger questions out there than we see with our five senses. So that's basically it. I've had some interesting experiences, which some I would classify like as guardian angel type encounters. Some just very strange synchronicities. But mostly I'm seeing that science, if you're really open and if you really follow the method of science, which is to observe and test theories and facts, the evidence points to materialism is not the only answer. And once I'll just kind of conclude this by saying, and I mentioned this to you when I was over speaking with you, there's a movie called The Ninth Gate with Johnny Depp, and there's a character in there that is asking Johnny Depp's character essentially if he believes in spiritual things. But the way he asks it, he said, "Are you a religious man?" Meaning, do you believe in the supernatural? And that's doesn't sound like a big thing, but it really is, because it kind of puts you in one camp or the other. You're either a materialist or you're not. And once you open the door to belief in non-material things, everything else is possible. And then we're in the world that you're pursuing right now. So that's kind of the basic of where I got to be where I'm at. So
Awesome. Yeah, we've had, when you were talking about just all kinds of different things that's happened to you, and even currently still happening to you. So you've got a
yes,
lot of different things going on.
yeah, and I guess I have to, I know you have kind of a pretty diverse audience, and I don't want to point to any particular belief at this point, just more like observing. So, I mean, just some things recently I mentioned to you, and again, these are personal things that other people may not fully, I don't know, find interest in unless the same kind of thing has happened to them, in which case, yeah, we all understand. And as I was telling you, just driving to the supermarket the other day at an intersection where no other cars around, no people around, waiting at a light, and a very heavy pounding on the roof of my car, like somebody was right next to my car door, pounding on the roof. And I immediately look over, expecting to see somebody attacking my car. There's nobody there. And then it happened again. Nobody there. So finally, I thought maybe something broke on my car. Light turns green. I pull into the parking lot. On the way to the parking lot, pounding on my roof again. 20 yards away, I parked the car. There's nothing. No damage, no person, no nothing. And a few weeks before that, I was down at the Boulder County Fairgrounds, where I usually took my lunches. And essentially, and I hear these stories, some of the paranormal shows, there was a pickup truck approaching me. No other cars around. It's just a little street within the park grounds, the fairgrounds. And I'm looking at this truck coming right at me, maybe, I don't know, 100 yards away. There was a very slight bend in the road. For like a split second, the view was obscured to that truck, and it disappeared. It was no longer driving towards me. There was nothing there. Again, these are anecdotal. People hear these stories all the time, but when it happens to you and you know what you saw, you know that you're not crazy, then you have to admit the possibility that there's more going on. So, I mean, it's just been a weird year, and I don't know whether like the last 12 months. I had a deer jump over my car at 45 miles an hour on the way to work. It just strange things like that. I think there was a few other things I was telling you about, but why don't you go ahead for a couple of minutes, Dana?
Like you were saying, you had the deer jump over your car. And I've had a wild thing happen to me. Just to let the audience know, we're neighbors. We've been neighbors for a while. And so we live in the same area, but we're having so many different experiences. I go past a lake, a good sized lake, and on my way to work. And I had this huge bird that came up from underneath my car and up and just followed the car's form. So big, it covered my windshield. I couldn't see out of my windshield for that split second. It was pretty crazy.
When did this
So
happen? I'm sorry, when
this
did this?
this happened just this past summer. Probably maybe
I,
probably around October ish.
I don't want to drag you down a tangent here, but my wife and I have been seeing some extremely large birds in this neighborhood that don't look natural. And it's almost like somebody took a crow and then inflated it to like 100 pounds. And they're just, so yeah, there's big birds around here. I don't know if it's a thing or if we're just seeing things that aren't there. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. No, it's just kind of weird because I've never seen a bird that big, that close. And looking back,
What sorry, what kind of bird did it look like?
I'm not exactly sure. Maybe like um geez, I don't want to say an owl, but it the colors I saw very, very quickly on the belly of it was like it was white with brown and black like spots on it, not like I can't even think of the type of bird that it would have.
You know,
But
owls are like, I don't want to, like, paranormal owls are a thing. And I don't know if they're considered some sort of totem animal, but paranormal um, events with people a lot of times will involve owls. So
And it could have been an owl by the coloring of it. Hawk. I think that's the one I was trying to think
Okay.
of. The hawk with the colorings of the belly like that. And then when I look back and try and replay that, it's weird because I don't see feet.
That is
Even
crazy.
yeah, I don't see feet curled up on the bottom of the body, um, which is just kind of weird. But there was no feet. It was just the body and wings, and the wings were very dark. So they were like a, I don't know, a black or a dark brown or something. It was nighttime. I mean, it was dark out, so I couldn't get a really good feel of it, but I didn't see a head, with it coming up. I don't recall ever seeing a head. All I saw was like the body of it.
Just in front of
And
your just in front of your windshield, like bigger than life kind of a thing.
bigger than life, it seemed like. I mean, it was so big that the wings, I'm sure, was bent over the sides of my car.
That's terrifying. You're
It's
getting into
weird.
Mothman territory there.
I don't know what, I'm not sure if it would be a paranormal thing because I didn't get a very good look or anything of it. So,
That's
paranormal
crazy.
bird, I mean, I'm still weird because, like I say, I didn't see a head coming up, just
The other thing you hear
body.
is that when you start looking for this stuff, it starts looking back for you.
Hmm.
So sometimes it's be careful what you look for. But
Right.
but on the contrary to that is all the people that don't see anything because they're just too busy looking at their phones all day, or they have no they have no perception of any kind of natural world around them, so they're not going to see that. It's almost like how sort of excuse me, modern civilization has penetrated into like rainforests and touched these civilizations that used to have all this spectacular senses and abilities to see things in the forest, and now they get GPS and all their skills are gone and they can't survive anymore. So
Right. Yeah. And all the cameras and everything that they have for campers out there trying to pick up Bigfoot and
right.
all of that, we have so much technology to try to pick up these things. And
um
yeah.
yeah, and that kind of takes the fun out of it, I suppose, because
In some
technology can
sense.
be fooled.
Yeah.
But so I guess one of the other things that's been kind of recent is I worked, like I said, I recently retired, but a woman I worked with for several years. She's a Hispanic engineer, very bright, but also very steeped in sort of a Mexican sort of Day of the Dead kind of things, and a lot of those kind of belief systems. And to her and her husband, ghosts are not even worth questioning whether they're real. Of course they're real. And they've been plagued with what I consider poltergeists. I mean, they'll hear pounds on their walls in the middle of the night, um, just things that cannot really be explained. And like I said, I've known this woman for many years, and this is exactly what's happening to her. And I'm actually worried for her because things like this shouldn't be happening in our houses. Um,
It's time to smudge or have someone come in and
yes.
clear it.
And it's strange, Dana. I don't know what happens to people when they get older, whether they take spiritual path and then they forget about everything else, or the vice versa if they go to their graves not believing in anything. But it seems like the more time you spend just walking the earth, you've got to question things and you've got to start putting things together. And um, there's stuff out there that we don't know, but it's not to get too much into like the metaphysical, but it's like back to that line from the ninth gate. Are you a religious man? Meaning, do you believe in the supernatural? It's it's time for people, I think, to either leave their head in the sand or look around them, because I don't know.
It's
Every
definitely out
generation,
there.
every generation thinks that they're going through some sort of end times or whatever, and obviously that's not true for every generation, but um, it just seems to me that there are more supernatural things happening in the world um, in general. I don't know if that's provable, but that's from everything all the podcasts I've listened to and all the things I've read, the stories are out there.
Stories are out there, but I think also that it's people are just opening up for them. People are ready to talk about them, ready to tell their stories of what they've experienced and all, and that's just kind of opening up to where more people are like, oh, well, maybe it is out there, maybe it's going on. But at the same time, I think everybody has had some sort of experience. They just don't realize it.
Or yes, or they just kind of put it in the, stuff it away somewhere in the dusty
Mm-hmm.
corner of their head.
Yeah.
I think you make a really good point, though. Do you think that more people are having to face these things, or they're finally, maybe it's more trendy to be able to say, "Oh yeah, I saw a UFO," or is there more, I don't know, more buzz about stuff like this and social media, or is it really a thing that people are actually experiencing? Sometimes I wonder.
I think that it's opening up. I think Earth is ready to expand on this, and people that have had their experiences are feeling more comfortable sharing it. Hence this podcast, um, to let them tell their stories without feeling like they're like, man, I'm crazy. They're going to put me in some sort of nut house or something. Um, I think it's just time. It is time that Earth opens up and reveals what's going on out there. And and I think with that, the spirit and all the other side, I don't know how to really put this out there, but all your paranormal, all of your Bigfoot, all your cryptids, all your things like this are opening up, and they are allowing themselves to be seen. So that is also allowing other people to witness it, to open up their spirit, to open up their vibration in order to see these things, because it's time for Earth to rise.
Well, or it's going to fall. I mean, AI is going to destroy us. It's absolutely terrifying what's right around the corner with technology that we know about. And this is, I don't know about your other listeners, but especially people that have worked in, industry, offices, whatever, it's so unnatural, and it's getting so much more unnatural that sometimes just going out and standing under a tree is just like heaven, just
Mm-hmm.
because of how far we've gotten from just simple natural experiences. And the environment I came out of in aerospace, it's horrible. It's people are just disposable. um, there's no there's no light. It's all dark, and people are working in these environments in every industry in this country. um, I don't know. Just side topic. I don't know if your husband experiences this where he works, but because he has more of a scientific, you know, um, job that he's got there. But it's depressing. And I'll be honest. I just 3 months out of that experience and finally ending my job. It's a healing process, and this whole world does need to figure out what's important. Let's put it that way.
And you bring up a point right there too, that my husband's noticed a lot of changes since COVID. And I've noticed some, I'm a hugger. I love to give people hugs. That's my thing. I just love it. And since COVID, it's like I hardly ever get a hug now. And that is a change. And I lost where I was going with this. But yeah, it is a change where we have to grow. And it's kind of like you have to get to rock bottom before you can grow or get out of it. And I think we're heading into our rock bottom right now.
Oh God, that is,
And
I, I think you're right. And it's kind of terrifying. Um, there are so many things that could break down, and, not to get into all the, like the prepper stuff and the apocalypse stuff, but we are living in a Goldilocks world right now. I mean, you think about everything that runs, all the technology, everything that's dependent on everything else, all the supply chains. Just, we are very fortunate things even work when you get up in the morning. And just a way of saying you can't spend your whole life depending on technology. You gotta broaden your horizons a little bit and think for yourself.
yeah, and I think we're headed there. I think Earth is rising with its vibration, with having these podcasts out there about the paranormal and all of this. I think it's helping the energy level so that people can see, okay, we are going down and we need to change this. So, in order to change it, we need to each individually bring up our vibrations so that we can clean up Earth. I mean, I get scared because of a lot of stuff going on, like the mountains in my background here. I mean, how are they going to go because of people going up there? And now that we don't have anyone up there to clean these mountains anymore, what are they
Well,
going to
they're
look
not.
like? You know,
They're going to look completely scraped down to the bedrock. If you've seen what's happening on the west side of town, I mean, yeah, they've got to stop just scraping every piece of land. But it
yeah.
okay. I admit I lost my train of thought there for a second.
It's okay. I did it too. So it's just like this is a note to everybody out there, take care of our land, you know. Um, my husband and I take walks all the time, and out of our own time, we go out and we clean up our neighborhood. We're out there picking up trash all the time.
Well, bless you
Um,
for that.
yeah, we're out there all the time picking up trash. And just this past weekend, we went and since winter was here, we picked up 2 bags full of trash and recycle. So we separated trash and the recycle. So we come back home and we recycle it. People
Well, that's
out there,
awesome.
come on, let's keep Earth clean. And Mother Earth is crying because of all the trash and all
Well,
of
it's
this
just,
that's going on. Just clean up after yourselves, please.
yeah, it's disrespectful to yourself, to your community.
And
It
Earth.
just
I mean,
contributes to this. It contributes to a negative, environment.
mhm,
And I'm sorry, I remembered what I was gonna bring
go
up,
for
and
it.
that is, one of the areas where you and I may overlap is when you talk about energy, whether it's light energy or whatever. Um, I have become painfully aware of negative energy. And again, this is something I didn't learn at the university is, oh, there's negative energy in this room. And it's ridiculous. But no,
Mhm.
it's not ridiculous. And one of the reasons I couldn't work in corporate America anymore was it's palpable. You can feel it. It's not just a saying like, oh, that place has negative energy. No, you feel it when you walk in the door. It's like a wave. And once it's kind of like a red pill thing from the Matrix, it's like once you feel it, you can't unfeel it. So,
Right.
that becomes the single most important thing is to surround yourself with positive energy, or at least avoid the negative. And then you
as
can,
much as possible.
it's like then you've set up the ecosystem, the spiritual ecosystem to progress. I mean, for lack of a better word.
Right, right. And it's funny because not even the spiritual people, as we are, um, feel it. Everybody else feels it. I see a huge difference in the way people act and hold themselves and how they speak and everything when certain people are there and when certain people are not there. It's amazing because they are feeling this energy and they are replying to
Oh,
that
I see.
energy. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's not that you're feeling it, you are reacting to the
Yes.
energy that's there or not there.
I mean, and there again, there was a time, probably most of my, adult life, I would have said that was ridiculous to even consider something like that was real. And no, I was
Mhm.
wrong. It is real.
It is very real. It's very real. And how are we going to change that? How are we going to change that? We need to be more positive. We need to raise our vibrations to not allow the negative to happen, to try to change this and heal ourselves from the inside so that that can be raised and we can bring out more love.
Well, and no matter what part of this paranormal spectrum or spiritual spectrum you come from, it's important that people know that they do share common experiences and common beliefs. Again, once you say in your own mind that you're done with materialism, that you're leaving that behind, it just opens up so much area of study or meditation, or however you want to learn more about your part in the universe, I guess.
Right. And there's so many different ways of doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I work with my pendulum, I work with card reads, I work with I read I read people's faces. And so I'm really good with the eyes. So when I see people's eyes, I can really kind of focus in and kind of get a really good gist of who they are. And um
You you
I just
mentioned
lost myself.
you just mentioned pendulum. Can you
Uh-huh.
I've heard a little bit about different ways that these have been used, or
Mm-hmm.
can you tell me a little bit about how you've done it, or what it is?
I don't have mine with me right here, but it's a little, it's a stone on the end of a chain.
Right.
And how it works is through your energy. So when you go to speak with it, you're always, you have to ask for the light to come through, or you can get a negative energy to come through. And I've had that several times. I've had to say, okay, beat it.
Right. Definitely be
It's
careful.
yeah, it's part of the practice with it. So just, anybody out there, just be cautious and make sure you're asking for your spirit guides or someone of the light. So when they come through, recently it's just gotten really exciting because when you're holding it, it'll give you a yes or a no. So you ask yes or no questions and it will sway. Trying to see if have something to kind of show you, but it'll sway like forward and backwards. At least for me, forward and backwards is a yes. Going side to side is a no. Um, Going a certain direction diagonal will tell you one thing, and going diagonal the opposite way will tell me something different. Like
Okay.
going from left to right, going like that will give I don't know, but going the
It,
opposite. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say the reason I was asking about kind of how you used it was because there there's been some there was a practitioner that developed this foundation about pendulums moving at different lengths of the string, at different speeds, at different rotations, and it was like a very developed process that this person had, and wrote a book about it, and supposedly could predict all this cool stuff. But I think I may have to send you an email later with a link to that information.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool. Yeah, I'm starting to connect with, I just recently, in the past 2 weeks, recently connected with my star seed through my pendulum. And I am speaking with my sister from my star seed family. And so it's really been interesting. When I look at my pendulum, I am now starting to see like the aura of the different people I'm speaking with. So Archangel Michael will give me one um, aura around it. Um, my sister will give me another one. Another one of my guides will give me just a little bit different. So they each have their own little aura when I'm speaking with them. So it's really kind of
Wow.
cool. And I've learned a couple more signs of what's happening when this is going on with the pendulum, and they're even laughing. They laugh with me, and you can it shows through the pendulum that they're laughing. It's really pretty cool.
Wow. Okay. You're
Yeah.
you're way more advanced on this stuff than I would even know existed. But um, yeah, I guess funny because the pendulum, I don't know if you want to call it divination or whatever, the thing that I had heard about, it was sort of like a very scientific way of getting to the same answer. Well, how long is the string and how fast did it move and blah, blah, blah. So, but basically very similar.
It's very similar. And I've heard that if you use string, it doesn't work as well
Uh,
because the energy doesn't flow through the string as easy. So if you use a metal chain, it'll go through that, the energy goes through easier. So, I mean, it's working for me.
all right. Well, you can work on your thesis of the best suspension materials for pendulum weights.
But it's been really fun. It's
Um,
been a lot of fun with it.
yeah, I would bet. Um, sorry, I'm to everybody. I'm looking at a blank screen right now, so if I look funny, that's one reason I look funny. The other is just because I was born this way. But so
Okay.
yeah, I mean, it's my whole thing is just embracing the idea that science isn't the only answer, despite spending 40 years as an engineer. It's like, no, there's way more.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I wanted to get into some more of your stories. You were doing some skiing one time. I wanted to kind of bring that one up.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh, that was, yeah. Um, long story short, I was skiing. I was up at Mammoth Mountain in California, skiing on a hill. It was way too steep for my capability. Uh, got to the top, started coming down, and one of my skis came out of my boot, or my boot came out of one of my skis. Well, in those days, skis were attached by a little cord, like a little leash. They didn't have those fancy brakes that kind of stick those prongs out to stop the ski from sliding. So the ski came out and the strap broke. Immediately, I saw the snap break. Well, that ski was going to fly down that mountain and probably kill somebody, or at least leave me stranded up at the top of the mountain. And I looked, and it was just balanced. That ski was just balanced on a little tip of snow, and it was like it was stuck to the mountain. There's wind blowing, and the ski just stood there, flat as a board, just didn't move, didn't slide. I reached down, was able to pick it up, and put it back on, and get down the mountain. Had another situation there where I was skiing by myself again, very stupid. This was in Utah, and I got the last chairlift of the day. So when I got to the top, I was the very last skier. And stupid again, I immediately skied off into the trees, didn't even come down the main slope. I just went all crazy off into the trees. Next thing I know, I fell and dislocated my shoulder and went into shock and figured I was dead. I couldn't move. I didn't even know what had happened to me. And the sun's going down and the chairlift, that's done. Well, just sitting there in the snow, trying to figure out what was going on. Next thing I know, there's 2 ski patrol, and I hear them at the get off the top of the chairlift to make their last their little sweep that they do to check the hill. But instead of going down the hill to sweep the mountain and close down the ski resort, they just skied right to me. I could hear them. They didn't say anything, but I could hear their skis, and they just, like they knew I was there, they just skied right to me, these 2 guys. And, they stayed with me. They took me down the mountain on a toboggan, got an ambulance, drove me down into Cedar City. But I mean, I to this day don't know how I didn't freeze to death up there. Nobody knew I was there. But these 2 guys, they just skied right to me. I mean, through all these trees, I don't know. So I guess the last one, which probably wouldn't work out too well for a podcast, but suffice it to say, I was skating. I used to do a lot of rollerblading, and I was skating around the lake trail. And there's a very large power line that runs across the entrance to the lake. And again, a little hard to describe, but basically storm hit, all kinds of lightning everywhere. I'm trying to get out of the danger, come under one of the power lines, cross underneath it, and the lightning hit right above my head. But instead of hitting me, it hit the power lines. And I look up and I saw horizontal lightning strike going out either side, left and right, for like 100 yards of this blue light on the power line. And so, yeah, I just escaped getting hit by lightning. Well, I kept skating to try to get back to the car. And that trail goes under the same power lines in a different spot. Well, I get under it, same thing happened. Lightning hit the power line right above my head and spread out horizontally. So that's twice in like 20 minutes that happened. And that same day was the day that there were 7 people hit by lightning at the lake that day. And by the time I was getting back to the car, there were, emergency, vehicles, approaching from every direction. So yeah, basically escaped 2 lightning strikes, direct lightning strikes within 20 minutes of each other. So
Yeah, and
that was definitely a guardian angel.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And the area that you were showing me, since we live nearby and we know the areas, it's not that far from that one to the other. When those
it's not.
Strikes, it's not far at all.
No, and in fact, the reason it took 20 minutes was because here I am wearing rollerblades, and this horrible storm is going on, and there's that little isthmus where the road goes between the 2 lakes, and I crawled up underneath the bridge under the highway, under the road there, and I was sitting under the bridge for about 20 minutes, and the storm didn't pass. So I figured I had to get back. So that's when I got back on the trail, and then lightning hit again. So, um, and then I guess
Absolutely
the last
crazy.
one, sorry.
Absolutely crazy. I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's just, what can you say? I mean, how often I've never even heard of lightning hitting a power line, let alone one that was right above my head. Uh, but I guess there was one other one I was going to tell you about, wasn't there? Let me check real quick. I'm on my, let's see, I have to look at my
There was
some
one with
stuff
the,
online.
I have like, there's a
Oh, the
patrol.
plane.
Oh, okay.
Well, let's here. How about this?
Go for it.
I don't know if this falls under the category of, I suppose, premonition, but there was a airplane crash in Denver, in Christmas of 2008. This was Continental Airlines Flight 1404, became known as the Christmas Miracle, because that plane basically went off the runway in Denver and it burst into flames and was destroyed. Well, the thing was, a week before that happened, I was I was with my girlfriend at the time, and I just had this vision in my head, just popped right into my head, with almost like seeing a headline where it just said airplane crash, snowy city, Denver or Salt Lake. Um, Plane is destroyed. Nobody is killed. There are a few other little tidbits, but that was a week before this happened, and just clear as a bell. It was like, oh, interrupted. You're being interrupted for a emergency broadcast, and then I just went back to my normal evening. But that message came in clear as a bell, and a week later, that Continental 1404 crashed in Denver. So, but I thought, my take on it was a miracle. Nobody was killed. It was right before Christmas. So, it's terrible that that happened, but it was a very, very uplifting holiday story, if you want to put it that way.
So how did that make you feel seeing something like that? It because you're not like expecting it, and here you are getting a vision, and
That's
you're
a
not
really
sure.
good question.
Yeah, how do you react to something like that?
I I I honestly don't remember even thinking like, wow, that's really cool that that came true. It was more like I kind of knew it was going to happen. I had to go, my girlfriend Cindy, who I think at one time you met, uh,
Mhm.
uh, I went back to her. I said, "You remember what I said last weekend when we were in the garage?" She says, "Yeah, I know." So I mean, I had a witness. She heard the whole thing. So um, I guess at that point, that was one of those times I just thought, okay, this is real. I mean, this is not a coincidence. This is not, just me spouting off like, hey, I think there's going to be an airplane crash. No, it was,
Yeah.
yeah, it's,
So
and again, I
yeah.
have to just mention again my ex coworker, who has a lot of supernatural beliefs in her family, and not just beliefs. I mean, they know this stuff is true and they live it. And I don't know, to be honest, sometimes I think they attract the wrong types of things around them, because I know she's suffered some serious setbacks. So I guess it's just like you said, be careful.
Be careful and protect yourself before you mess with anything. Protect yourself before and after.
Yeah.
Strongly suggest that.
Yes. Dana is right, everybody.
Yeah.
Mother's always right when it comes to things like this.
Yeah, you just gotta and it's something you don't really think about, because when I first started into this, I was like, oh, kind of cool, but you don't think about the protection. And when I first moved into it, I was like, yeah, I'll do it here, and maybe I'll do it here. But the more I get into it, the more I understand and more I know you do need that protection. Otherwise, you don't know what's going to be coming in and you don't know what's going to happen. You will attract the wrong thing, and always protect yourself. Always, 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 always.
And yeah, I couldn't agree more. And everybody needs to follow those words. There are dark things out there. I think I mentioned to you that I know that there's Satanists in this town. I've stumbled across in a very, very elaborate conjuring site is the only thing I can describe it as. I have a ex-coworker who is a psychic medium, and she I showed her a picture of what I had seen, and she almost gasped. She said, "That's incredibly intricate." And after that, I deleted the photos, and I've never been back to that site. And but it's a bit terrifying. And the reason people do these things, and the reason why people believe in these things, is because they're real. That's why. So be careful.
Yeah. Yeah. Be careful. And you get somebody that's working with the lower energies. And it's very scary, guys. Be careful. Be careful what you're doing. Know what you're doing before you do it. Like we could talk about the Ouija board, and I know a lot of people that use it, and but they know how to protect themselves. Don't just play with it. Don't just play
No,
with it.
it's not a toy.
It's not a toy. Make sure if you use it, have your protection. Have your protection. Know what you're doing with those things.
I wonder how many people know that the movie the original movie The Exorcist, based on the novel by Blatty, I think that was based on a true story, and it was based on Ouija board usage. In real life, the character was a boy, not a girl, but the story is it's based on a true story, and so yeah, it's not a toy.
It's not a toy. So, and nothing is a toy. I mean,
Right.
even a pendulum could be very dangerous. So you really got to just
Yes.
really watch it and protect yourself, because it's great joy. It's a lot of fun, but please be safe.
Yeah.
Be
With
safe.
great power comes great responsibility. Isn't that what they say?
Something along that line. That's right. Be careful. Be careful. So yeah. Oh my, there's so much to talk about and everything. And I've had such a great time chatting with you, Glenn. It's what a joy to just have this conversation.
Yes, thank you, Dana. It's
Wonderful.
been wonderful. And you're a great neighbor. So, that's a bonus.
Neighbors for how long? What, 23, 22 years now?
Well, I've been in this
Around
house
that?
I've been in this house since 96.
Yeah. We came
So,
in 2001. 2001
okay.
we moved in. So
Um,
yeah,
well, be sure to let me know if you see any more of those giant birds. My wife's going to
I
want to hear
will.
about this.
I will. And we'll have to get together and just chat some more of this stuff. So
All right.
it's so
It
much fun.
sounds good. Sounds
All
good. It's
right.
been very nice talking to you.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being a guest, and I really appreciate it. And if I would be willing to have you back, if my guest would be open for that and you would be open for that, I would love to have you back.
All right. I just need to find some more disappearing pickup trucks and weird knocks and stuff, and I'll write those down, and we'll have another show.
All right. Sounds great. I know you have
All
a
right.
lot of stories. So,
All right. Thanks, Dana.
uh-huh. So if there's anybody out there that has any paranormal or supernatural experiences you would like to share with us, please email me lighttalk423@gmail.com. And while you're at it, click on the like, share, and subscribe buttons. And we will talk with everybody next time. Bye.
All right. Bye.